Billy D here, Bill DeMoss, DC. This video is going to be about what I feel is another big hoax, which happens to be the cholesterol hoax. Great book. I just finished Chestnut's, Dr. Chestnut, James Chestnut's program twice, his wellness program. I'm also a big fan of Dan Murphy. I just did his longevity seminar. I got this a long time ago at a Chestnut seminar, and I've used this with a lot of the peeps that come into my practice. Say half the people come to me that are over the age of 50 are now on statin drugs. And if you read through this is by an MD. This is not some quack like me, chiropractor, just spouting off. High cholesterol, and this comes from the, there's a compilation of different articles, and it's in the Complementary and Alternative Medical Journal, March 2007. And we've been trying to find this. I was trying to get a link for you guys, but search it out yourself first before you start asking me for stuff. But like, I mean, we could read any of these. Like, first one, high cholesterol in men had no association with heart disease in many studies. In fact, the majority of studies show that men, just like women, die more from heart disease and other health problems if they have low cholesterol levels. And yet doctors are busy prescribing cholesterol-lowering medications to millions of men around the world, when the research is showing that the higher your cholesterol, the longer you live, and the opposite would be the lower the cholesterol, the shorter you live. Many studies have shown that old age cholesterol is protective. Old people with high cholesterol live longer than people with low cholesterol. In fact, it is dangerous to reduce cholesterol in older people. It says old people. Sounds kind of mean there. How about large clinical trials where patients were put on low-fat, low-cholesterol, high-carbohydrate vegetarian diet created drastically increased risk of heart disease? The author of one study at Harvard University Medical School, Dr. L. Gould, a leading U.S. cardiologist, strict vegetarian diets incurs a substantial risk of coronary events. Study after study has clearly demonstrated that there is no correlation between the level of blood cholesterol and the degree of atherosclerosis in people with low cholesterol. People with low cholesterol can be just as sclerotic as people with high cholesterol. I was watching a video the other day when I was researching this, and a lot of the doctors that had done the surgeries, primarily bypass surgeries, they many times the amount of sclerosis or atherosclerosis had nothing to do with whether a person had high or low cholesterol. How about this one? Cholesterol protects us from infections. That's interesting. People with low cholesterol are more prone to infections, and when they get an infection, they have an increased risk of dying from them compared to people with high cholesterol. When people with low cholesterol and suppressed immunity were fed high cholesterol foods, their ability to fight infection was substantially boosted. Starting with the Framingham study, many large-scale studies have found that people with low levels of cholesterol are prone to cancer. That's a big one, man. So you're lowering people's cholesterol is actually increasing the rates of cancer. And I want you to understand the statin drugs is one of their biggest profit gigs. I mean, it's huge. So I mean, I get people when they come into me, like I said, a high percentage of people coming to me on statins. One of the biggest side effects these people have is that they have problems with fatigue or energy. Some of the older people say they have a difficult time walking even like a city block. A lot of times people have problems with cognitive function. They could have these things called transient global amnesia. They don't even know where they're at. I mean, drugs all have side effects, but I think the ones statins have are really detrimental. And the reason why the statins interfere with energy production and cause fatigue is because, you know, cholesterol is not coming from your foods. That's one thing I'm trying to get you. Most cholesterol is produced in the liver, and it's a byproduct of what? Sugar metabolism. And so you're increasing your sugar by eating a high-carb diet, especially if you're eating many processed foods. So I try to get people to eat more of a Paleolithic diet with a lower glycemic index, eating clean, healthy proteins and fats, primarily from animals that are caught in the wild, or that are farm raised in a method that's congruent to their genes. So it means obviously cows were genetically designed to eat grass, not corn, so eat grass-fed cows that are raised humanely, that are free of antibiotics and also free of any type of vaccines or chemicals or like growth hormones. Okay, so what happens is you've got sugar going all the way to cholesterol. In that process, there's 32 different enzymatic reactions, and what the statins do is it goes in at like the 4th or 5th, and it stops that whole process and doesn't allow that process to go any further. The problem is down at like 9 or 10, what happens is that's the process where the body uses the sugars to go from like the 9th or 10th enzymatic reaction and creates this thing called coenzyme Q10. That is an important component for the body's capacity to generate energy. Okay, now if we go to the May 14th, 2002 Journal of Neurology, what they show is that the statins increase the level of side effects from peripheral neuropathy, which is rampant for any of us chiropractors. We know that a lot of people are coming in with numbness everywhere. It's not like doubled or tripled or quadrupled. It's actually increased 1,600%. Then if we go down to January 1996, the Journal of American Medical Association, JAMA, that is the one that shows, you can look this stuff up, the statin drugs are contributing to carcinogenesis or eye cancer. The more statins people take, the higher the level of cancer. So if, number one, the statins aren't doing anything other than creating side effects, there's not increasing any lifespan or decreasing your amount of heart attacks or heart health, like it's all this fictitious stuff that you see on TV from all the fictitious research that's out there. What it's doing is it's leading to cancer. It's also known to increase diabetes. So I don't know. It doesn't sound like a good bet to me. Let's go down to the journal Lancet, August 4, 2000. It showed that when you have a cholesterol below 180, if we go through the normal findings on that, we'll find that when it gets below 180, and I know over the years the level of cholesterol, which was considered normal, was arbitrarily decreased from like 270 to 240 to 220 to 200, and those were all normal ranges, that there was really no science to support those arbitrary decreases in what's considered normal cholesterol. It was basically what they figured out is if they lower the cholesterol, the normal cholesterol levels incrementally, they could get a lot more people on drugs. But when it gets below 180, that's where you see a lot of side effects as far as the all-cause mortality goes up dramatically. Then we go to June 28, 2010, the Archives of Internal Medicine. Is basically, it was a study of 240,000 people, and what they got from this thing is that the statins do nothing. They do nothing to prevent heart attacks. They do nothing to prevent strokes. And really what kind of the information they got from this, that the only people that should really be on statins is anybody that has a genetic or familiar predisposition to a thing called genetic hypercholesterolemia, since I can't say familia today. What they did find out, though, which is really interesting, that omega-3s decreased the amount of heart attacks and strokes way better than statins, because your heart attacks and strokes are not being caused by the cholesterol. It's being caused by what? Inflammation in the body. Okay, so, and I think cholesterol is also important for limiting inflammation. Some of the other side effects of statins would be liver injury. You need your liver. You know what I'm saying? As B.J. Palmer said, if life is worth living, it's up to the liver. I know that's a little play on words. Maybe it went over your head. Memory loss, we already discussed that. Diabetes, I mentioned that, but it's worth mentioning again. I mean, come on, man. Diabetes is a nasty-ass disease. My grandfather died from that. He eventually, went blind, and then we eventually had to saw his feet off, and he was a sugaraholic. He cooked food for just taste, not for, like, I try to get you guys to eat food that gives you energy and life and vibrancy. At the same time, it does all that. It's cleaning the body, not clogging up. Also, I found it interesting that in women, it increases the level of breast cancer, doubles it, and also the levels of Alzheimer's were severely increased. We mentioned that as well. And another one that was other finding is the Bell's palsy. But again, if we go back to the neuropathies, Bell's palsy is a form of a neuropathy. We can see how, and I'm not sure the neurobiology or why that's being caused, or the toxicological reasons why the toxicological side effects of statins cause all of these neuropathies. And so let's break this down. Number one, there is no association between high cholesterol and heart disease. In fact, we've seen high cholesterol increases lifespan, increases immunity, people live longer. Cholesterol also, when it's decreased, can increase all causes of mortality. All right. Plus, the statins have some horrible side effects other than increasing the money and the bank accounts of the pharmaceutical cartel, including neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, neuropathies, Bell's palsy, breast cancer, diabetes, and number one reason I see with my peeps in my practice is a lot of them complain of fatigue. So signing off, rather than taking drugs, start eating more paleo, get a chiropractic adjustment to make sure that your body's functioning 100% of its capacity. Like, I'm big on the 5 factors of health. 1 is eat right. 2, get plenty of exercise. 3, get proper rest. 4, think healthy, positive thoughts. And the one you guys are all dropping, you're not doing, what chiropractors are, we are dentists to the spine. And if you want to live a long time, it's imperative that you get a chiropractor to ensure that you have proper nerve flow so your body expresses more of its innate potential to be healthy. But also, we can prolong the life of your spine by normalizing your posture and making sure that the vertebrae move appropriately. Signing off, Billy D. This has been another exciting episode of Did You Know? This video is sponsored by my friends over at mychiropractic.com, custom branding and web design for successful chiropractors. I love these dudes because they're raising the image of chiropractic, and I really thank them for supporting all of our videos. Rock and roll.
This year, we're providing on-demand videos of all our past CalJams and DCS meetings, streaming online, available straight to your media devices. Visit caljam.org/network for more information.